Bonjour tout le monde. Today we're going to be looking at a really important skill in French. We're going to be looking at how to improvise developed opinions. At lots of different junctures in your exam, whether it be speaking or writing, you will be expected to give your opinion on different topics. Now, sometimes this will be in writing or in pre-prepared answers, but at other times you will have unexpected questions to answer. And having spoken to students in recent years, a lot of them have said, I just don't know how to get started. With this in mind, and knowing that it makes up a big part of your assessment, and also, let's be honest, helps us to just be more confident French speakers in general, we've come up with a really lovely formula that's going to help you absolutely nail opinion building every time. Let's have a little look at this diagram that you will also find printed in your booklet. You can work along with me. Anytime you are asked to provide your opinion on something, you should try using this technique. So let's have a little look. First of all, we would always recommend you start with an opinion starter. You've been doing this since year 7 and 8. I imagine you know loads and loads of opinion starters, so pause the video now and try and write 3 up here while I choose mine. I'm going to pick à vrai dire, truth be told, pour moi, for me, and my old favourite, à mon avis. I'm sure you've got lots of your own as well. Once you've given your opinion starter, you're obviously going to give your opinion about the thing you've been asked to talk about. You can do this by using opinion verbs such as j'aime and je préfère. If you were giving a negative opinion, you might use verbs such as je déteste or je ne supporte pas. We've also included some more complex opinion verbs. J'ai toujours aimé, I have always liked. J'ai toujours préféré, I have always preferred. And you know that you could mix these up to make them negative as well. You could say j'ai toujours détesté, for example. Once you've given your opinion, you obviously need to say what that opinion is about. So you're going to follow it with the noun or the verb that was in the question. For example, if your question was, do you like going on holiday with your grandparents or your dog? You would say, truth be told, I like to go on holiday with my grandparents. That on its own would be a nice opinion. And at GCSE, you might even on a foundation paper get a level 4 or 5 for that because you've given an opinion starter and you've showed me what your opinion is. But we want to make sure we are accessing the highest grades possible. And we know the exam board have told us that what they are looking for is for justifications of your opinions. So for you to tell us why you feel the way you feel. So here, in this handy diagram, we've given you 3 techniques that we would like you to practice to build up your opinions. The first one is by saying because, and following it with an adjective. So let's take that example of the holiday again. I like to go on holiday with my grandparents because it is relaxing, you might say, or fun, or interesting, or exciting. I think all of us can include an adjective in our work. We've been doing that since year 7. Have a little think now and pause the video. What could you put between the verb it is and the adjective to make it even better? That's right, it's an intensifier. You could say it is very fun or extremely relaxing. We'd love to see you including some of those as well. So, back to that opinion again. Truth be told, I like to go on holiday with my grandparents because it is very fun. What's more, and here we can put in our second justification. We can say what someone else thinks. In this case, we've used the example of my mum. So we've said, my mum thinks that. Pause the video here and try and come up with another example for a different person. Who else could you include here instead of mum? Brilliant. You could say, my dad thinks that, mon père. You could say, my cousins think that, mes cousins. There are lots of different examples you could include in there. So back to our example again. I prefer to go on holiday with my grandparents because it is extremely fun. What's more, my mum thinks that it is interesting. Finally, we can develop our opinion a third time. We can use one of these lovely summer phrases that we've been practicing throughout our booklets in years 7, 8 and 9. We know that we can say phrases such as ça m'amuse, ça m'intéresse, ça me passionne, or some negative ones, ça me stresse, ça me fatigue. We could also say, ça me met, it puts me in a good mood, it puts me in a bad mood. We can say, ça me fait, it makes me dance, it makes me laugh. There are so many ways we can use ça me to develop our opinion further. You can always look in your booklet to remind yourself of some of these ça me phrases. And it's a really good idea actually at this point to start building up a bank of vocabulary that you're happy using all the time. Maybe choose 3 positive and 3 negative ça me phrases that you're going to learn really, really well so you can use them when you're asked to improvise opinion questions. Let's look at this formula in action then. Down here, we've got a past GCSE question, an improvised question. Do you prefer to spend the weekend with your family or your friends? This is exactly the type of unexpected question you might see come up that the exam board would want to hear your opinion on. So let's look at the example. Honnêtement, je préfère passer le week-end avec ma famille parce que c'est hyper cool et ma mère pense que c'est relaxant. Aussi, ça me met de bonne humeur. Can we see examples of the formula above in here? First of all, pause the video and see if you can translate this into English. Can you recognise each of the steps from the formula above? Right, let's go through it together. So we've got honestly, that's our opinion starter, isn't it? Honestly, I prefer, there's my opinion verb, to spend the weekend with my family. This is the information that was in the question, isn't it? What do you prefer to do? I prefer to spend the weekend with my family. Here we've got our first justification, because. I've given my adjective cool and I've included an intensifier. It is super or extremely hyper cool. I've got another conjunction, and so here we go with my second justification. My mum thinks that. And I've got the adjective relaxing here. My mum thinks it is relaxing. And finally, my third conjunction, so my third development of this opinion, my third reason why. And here's my ça me phrase. It puts me in a good mood. So there we have it. Honestly, I prefer spending the weekend with my family because it's hyper cool. And my mum thinks it's relaxing. Also, it puts me in a good mood. Here's another question we could look at together. Do you prefer to go out with your friends or stay at home at the weekend? Take a moment to look back at the formula again. How are we going to start? Yes, we're going to start with an opinion starter. This time I'll start with personnellement. Next comes my opinion verb. I prefer. I'm going to use the question to help me do the next bit. I prefer to go out. And for this one, let's say I prefer to go out with my friends. I've changed the question slightly because I'm not going out with your friends, I'm going out with my friends at the weekend. Obviously, we could stop there, but we're not going to because we're going to develop our answer 3 times. Step 1, because. Because followed by an adjective. Because it is. If I can use an adjective, I can use an intensifier. I'm going to use extremely. And I'll go for fun. I could stop there, but we know we can develop 3 times. So let's go for number 2. Because it's extremely fun. What's more? My sister. I'm going to change it up a bit. I'm not going to talk about my mum this time. I'm going to say my sister thinks that it is interesting. And finally, can I develop that 3rd time? Of course I can. I can use my ça me phrase. Aussi, ça me met de bonne humeur. Brilliant. Let's look at the next example then. Do you prefer to celebrate your birthday with your family or your friends? This is a really similar question to the one above, So I'm going to give you a few moments. Pause the video here and see if you can't come up with an example of an opinion that's developed 3 times yourselves. Here's my example then. I'm sure yours looks the same. We can find all of those different steps. Our opinion starter, our opinion verb. We've got step 1, because it is. We've got step 2, what's more, my mum says. And we've got step 3, a summer phrase. Check that you've got those 3 developments in your example as well before we move on. Okay, so developing opinion questions won't always come in the format of do you prefer this or that. You might get a slightly different format to think about. Here we can see you might be asked, what do you do to celebrate your birthday normally? Or down here, what do you like to do after school? Let's look at this one together first. So what do you like to do after school? Just because it's not a do you prefer this or that question doesn't mean we can't still build an opinion. So what do you like to do after school? We're going to start with our opinion starter. Frankly, franchement, I like. What could we do after school? We could watch TV. I like to watch the TV after school. Once we've put in that extra little bit of information that answers the question, once we've said what it is that we like to do, we can build our opinion in exactly the same way as we have been practicing. We can say because, it is, and my mum thinks that, also, it, something. Because it is relaxing, and my mum thinks that it is useful. Also, it amuses me. Anything could work in there. Take a look at the question above in your booklet and see if you can't build up another one like this. When you've practiced that, there's the next page in your booklet where there's a whole list of more unexpected, improvised opinion questions that you can now practice, perhaps with a partner or somebody at home. Try doing it without writing down your full answers as well. You've got your formula there, you've got your core knowledge. See how you can build up these opinions more independently. Before long, and with a bit more practice, you'll find that this comes really easily and you will be able to talk at length on anything you like. Good luck. Au revoir.